Welcome to another edition of Sport Wrap as we bring you the latest sports news in and around Namibia. Of course, if you are watching football, you know what Liverpool did to West Ham 5-1 just before they host Arsenal on Saturday. You know the Reds are certainly feeling good about that. But without further ado, let's make it local as we get into the hit list. Kiana Shea Cormack scored 3 goals for Namibia, and team captain Gillian Hermanus won as they once again stunned the previously unbeaten South African women's team 4-2 in the final of the Nkosi Cup indoor tournament hockey in Cape Town. Namibia led 2-1 after the first chaka, a score that remained unchanged until halftime. Now Cormack completes the tournament as the overall top goal scorer on 12, comfortably ahead of next best Edith Molikoe of South Africa with 5. A sublime performance of accuracy and execution by host South Africa sees their men's team rack up 10-2 against Namibia in the final of the Nkosi Cup in Cape Town. With both teams qualified for the next World Cup, South Africa found the reaction they were looking for after Namibia had beaten them 5-2 in the pool match just 2 days before. The South Africans also took revenge, seemingly, for Namibia's triumph against them in the final of the Six Nation tournament in Malaysia last month. Abdullah Idris 3 and Mustafa Kasim 2 were among the sharpest in attack for the hosts, who led 5-0 before Namibia eventually found a reply through 2 goals by birthday boy Liam Hermanus. Now, Frake Rochlau, coach and official, talks to Yolanda Nell about the equestrian show.
Hello, can you quickly explain to us what event took place today?
Today's event, we've had the 2-phase jumping competitions. All of this is part of the big annual Reiterverein Swakopmund show. They have a couple of shows a year, but this is the biggest one of the year. It runs over 5 days, has lots of dressage competitions, lots of jumping competitions, lots of little competitions, agility classes and things for the little beginners. So it's a real big package that encompasses everything.
Includes from beginner rider to more advanced riders.
Exactly. We've got right from our little kids that go over a 10 centimeter pole right up to your 1.30 meter riders.
Wow. And how was the competition?
So far, I think we've had an excellent competition. Not only have we had a lot of dressage riders, a lot of good dressage being shown, we had 2 dressage judges come in from South Africa, so that is really nice for the dressage community in this country to be judged by outside judges and have that comparison as well, apart from the one from your local judges. Then in the show jumping competitions, we've seen Carmen Piepmeier, for instance, ride beautiful 130 rounds. The 120 meters have been absolutely super, with, for instance, our oldest competition rider, Detlef Fischer from Okahanja, taking part on Kanakunda's Monsoon. We've had show organizer here from the Swakopmund show, Silvia Kleinstuber, who's been working herself to a standstill, but she still manages to get on to Altidore Z and put on some really beautiful rounds on that horse. We've got a course builder from overseas in Marenkadel, and we also have our local course builder, Holger Kleinstuber. So this is really a community of very dedicated people that put on this show, and it's always a very small group. They've gone out of their way to collect huge support from outside in terms of sponsorships to be able to host the show. So it's really been a lovely show, and the weather's been playing its part.
When will this conclude?
The show concludes tomorrow afternoon. So on Sunday afternoon, just after lunch, we have the big, actually quite early in the morning still, we have the big derbies going, which is a lovely, lovely show jumping competition, because not very many clubs have a derby course, in that they have the Devil's Dyke, they have a table, and they have big jumps, a water jump. So only the old show jumping clubs, such as RVS, who is now, I think they're 65, 66 years old, and Okahanja, etc., have these big derbies. So we only have 2 or 3 of those a year, and that makes it really, really exciting. So Sunday will be absolutely exciting stuff, and thereafter we'll have a parade of all the riders and some very, very, very old floating trophies that have been around for 50 years or so, and they move on from rider to rider. So it's always a lovely show for the end of the year to close off for the year.
Season.
Yeah.
Okay. And is development in equestrian riding picking up in Namibia? Is the sport growing?
It's very difficult to ascertain how big or how small a sport should be, whether it should be a huge sport or whether it should be a very high level sport. So that's always a bit of a discussion, but there is quite a bit of development going on in the sense that we have different disciplines being ridden. Dressage, show jumping, eventing and endurance are all part of the Namibian Equestrian Federation, and a lot of time and money goes into developing not only our riders but our officials, because if you develop your coaches and your officials, you can bring up the sport itself and bring it to a certain level so that people are able to compete not only regionally but also internationally. In terms of development for the children, as it is with all sport, all of the sport codes are trying to garner kids and people and things like that, but we do have riding schools that try and bring in the kids, and as they come along they will then be able to join a big show. For instance, the little agility classes we have here are the kids that are not really in the sport as such yet in terms of being able to do a show jumping competition, because it has to do with dangerous riding and with safety and things like that as well, but they are part of it already. So they're not part of a graded show yet, and they have the chance. You'll see tomorrow we'll have some kids, they did their little horseshoe exam, of which we have 3 before you go to a big show. So that's like your, I don't know, little dolphin or seahorse or whatever it is in swimming, things like that. So yes, the Namibian Equestrian Federation and its clubs work very hard at getting development going. It's not so easy to excite people for the sport because it always involves a second partner, namely the horse.
Yes.
So it's not a tennis racket you can just shove in the corner and say, oh, tomorrow I don't feel like it. You know, so it's a very, very big responsibility children take on, and that's why it's nice that we have riding schools who offer children the chance to come riding and see whether it's something for them and whether they would like to stick by it, because if you're going to do this as a serious sport, it calls for a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
My
time.
absolute pleasure.
And good luck with tomorrow's final.
Oh, I'm sure I'll pass that good luck on to the show organisers, because they have done an absolutely fabulous job. We have a beautiful ground. We've got our horses are being looked after beautifully. We've got the organisation running like clockwork. Everything happens on time. We've had a beautiful parade through town. We've got our people behind the scenes feeding and housing all the judges and things like that. So a very, very big thank you to Ruiterverein Swakopmund at this juncture.
Thank you so much.
Now, it was truly a busy year, an active year for Namibian boxing, both locally and internationally. Several boxers tried their best on the international stage. Locally, they kept us entertained whilst fixing their rankings. It was truly full of potent activity. So we managed to have a chat with boxing promoter Imms Moses. Now, he has called on boxing stables to be united while also asking for sponsors to come on board in order to expand the sport.
Imms, welcome. I'm sure that it was indeed a good weekend where we witnessed boxing here inside the country. That was the Kinder Promotions boxing event. Well, how did you assess this one?
No, this was actually a good show in terms of developing upcoming boxers that are entering the professional rank. And I think Namibia has a lot of talent. And we will still go back and say all we need is all the promoters to get sponsorship, especially the promoter, those who've been consistent in good time and bad time, whether there's money or not, they never stop promoting boxing. So I think the talent is there. Even the Saturday fight at Wanderers that was under Kinder Promotion, where I was also involved assisting Kinder to make sure that everything runs smooth. So we discover a lot of good talent from different clubs. And I think I'm looking forward to say it will be a very good move if we start having all these fighters fighting each other from different clubs. and also to make sure that promoters must be able to compete against each other here in the country, because Namibia have got more quality boxes compared to countries like Zimbabwe, Tanzania, South Africa. So whenever the Namibian boxers are fighting each other, there is always good action, and the people are start loving our local fighters. So I think we just need to put more effort, and of course to encourage the corporates to come on board. So whenever they get involved in boxing, they must make sure that they actually really follow the procedures and see who are the people involved in the sport, who are the people that really have the interest of boxing at heart. Because number don't lie, and then if you've been following boxing, you can see that all these promoters, they have been doing well, and of course we just need to fund them, and that's what is needed for boxing. Especially from my side of AC Boxing, I have set a record. I've been doing boxing for the past 8 years as a promoter with a sponsor, and I've been consistent doing 3 fights a year, 2 fights a year, and we've been involved international, making sure that the boxing is at the level to be able to compete with the Americans. So we can only get good results if we can set our foundation right, and that's to invest, because boxing is quite costly, even though it's not that too much expensive. But if you have an assistant financially, it makes life easy for the promoter to do events, and to also discourage the boxers if they can fight ever after 2 months, then it will also help them, because now the challenge that we have is the funds, where you find a boxer who is now upcoming and he only have like 2 fights a year. There's really less, and I think those boxers at the age of 20 to 21, they're supposed to fight like 4 times a year or to 5 times a year, because the more they are active, they will also improve their skill level, and that will also build the interest of boxing in the country. And I think that's really the thing that we need to focus come 2024. And the unity of promoters. I think I need people to work together for the benefit of the sport. We don't need to like each other like this and that, but the business of boxing must not be affected just because there are people that don't want to be close to each other. But at the end of the day, that can be done also if the boxing commission set up good rules that force promoters to work together in terms of competition, especially when it comes to the national championship, because those are championships that have been run by the commission. So if the boxer from this table is now qualified to fight this, it's now for the commission to push and say this fight must happen, because they are part of this program. I think that's all I can say. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Imms. We're looking forward to hearing more plans from you. I'm sure that will come in due course as well, where we hear from the AC Boxing and the year and all that. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in. Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
You might be physically ready, your body is ready, but mentally.
Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo Kahan.
Wys, hy sê wie hy is aan neertrek en hy bal het my grond gevat. Ja, hy het grond gevat en is hy.
But just enough next.
Running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this for the mountain climber. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love that. I love that. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
From the day you were born and welcomed, until your pensioner years on this earth? Your life is filled with changes and phases. What mattered the most at age 10 may be an unknown memory at 25. The heartbreak at 16 may be replaced with wedding bells at 27. The degree you've always wanted or starting your career business may come true at age 30. And the dream to own your own home may come to realization at age 50. Whatever stage you find yourself in, whatever matters right now, Standard Bank has what you need to bank like you. Choose your own path. Choose endless possibilities. Standard Bank, it can be.
You are still with Sport Wrap. As we zoom in, of course, we've enjoyed so many active leagues in Namibia. Now, Mabos Vries joins us to talk about the league that he works for, about proceedings before the year ends.
The Vries, it has been a good season, I see, in every aspect. But I want to hear from you, how have you thought of everything so far?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jess. There have been a lot of activities on different fronts this season. We have started off with the Namibia Premier League, then we have started kick off our Southern Team First Division. This coming weekend, the Northwest First Division will also commence, and then it will be followed by the Northeast First Division, and then the Second Division will then follow thereafter. The Women's Super League also, partly they've also started. We couldn't start full-fledged because the international commitments of the private gladiators have disrupted our program, but we will take care of it as we go along. Yes. Okay. The other thing also that's outstanding, we have now a new executive council, which is now the new leadership that have been elected on the 17th of November. So far so good.
So far so good. I think last season was a bit patchy in terms of league directing and taking the Premier League to the level where it wants to be. And this season, how has you assess it?
Yeah, one of the things is that the commitment from the clubs, I have to applaud the clubs for that. They are really go out of the way to honor the league fixtures. It comes with a price. Everybody knows there's expectation from the players themselves. The biggest challenge that we have been facing in Windhoek, and currently still facing, is the availability of stadiums. As you are aware that we have 7 clubs in Windhoek, which means we have a lot of matches that we need to play, and we have limited facilities. Even now we are struggling. It's only, luckily enough, the Independence Stadium is available, so we're making use of the Independence Stadium. UNAM have been closed for rehabilitation, as well as SKW also closed. The Hage Kingdom Stadium, we are in negotiations to use it also in the future, so they can have enough stadiums in Windhoek.
Yeah, speaking of stadiums, I think one of the things, like what you said, is mentioning the first division teams in order to start. How a struggle was that?
No, actually, everything goes along with finances, and the NFA is funding the leagues from their own pockets, from the resources we receive from FIFA. Money that is meant to also be used for other activities like development, but the NFA came on board as usual, as they have been doing in the past also, to fund the first division as well as the second division. The Women's Super League and the Namibia Premier Football League are sponsored by private sponsors. So sometimes it became a challenge because it affects also your cash flow.
Mm-hmm. Going forward, we're going to 2024 from here. What would you want to achieve as a league director?
The focus point, as we are playing football on the pitch, our biggest challenge is the image of our football. I think we need to work a bit harder on our image of football, how we portray ourselves. Sometimes we think that we are saying that we are developing football, we are for football, but the actions thereof doesn't speak to our vision and our mission at the end of the day. And I think we need to call everybody to the table and say that, colleagues, whatever, your pain can rescue football. But if you are taking only care of the pain that you are going through, and forget about the bigger picture that brought us together, which is football, then you will fail in the process. Because nowadays everybody is about himself, but we are not collectively together. It's more emotions, associations that are taking place. And I think we need to mature and say that, let me rather carry the pain as an individual, but through that, let me ensure that football will be a winner, and that football, through my pain, football will go to the next level.
Definitely. And look, I think we have spoken about how far or how hard it was to run football this season. We're still in the season, but there's still next year. We are finishing on the 16th, and then from there, what would you want to achieve?
You see, currently you can see on the pitch is competitiveness. On top and at the bottom, and even in the middle as well. People are fighting for points. This week, one is in a leading position. Next time you see, after 2 weeks, another team is in a leading position. So competitiveness are on the pitch, and we are very much pleased with it. As I said, my focus point is that the image, let's market our football, and let's create a product that is owned by everybody. All the stakeholders must own it. It starts from us, the NFA, the clubs, the leagues, the sponsors, the government. It should be owned by us. Ownership should be our motto, so that I own it and let me give my 2 cents, so that end of the day we can have a dollar out of it.
All right, we have had a few clubs that have performed well this season. In the first round, we have had, and when you speak of marketing, I'm sure you speak of, sometimes there are clubs that can survive on their own, but there are clubs that don't survive on their own. In terms of that, what do you think should be the strategy?
You must take in cognition how football is done. There are big teams. When I talk about big teams, you talk about followers. Some clubs will have bigger followers than the others. Some clubs have history behind them. So all those are different factors that influence in the end of the product. So in the past, we have created a scenario where the other team with the bigger follower will carry the other one along the road. And that's why we've set up double headers. But nowadays, clubs prefer to play single headers or single games for themselves, so they can count on their support base. That is one thing. But in the same vein, if you have a away game against those teams with the big followers, just make sure you are marketing your game, it reach everybody, especially at least we have a good tool, the social media, where you can reach out to everybody, so that you can make sure your game are marketed. But that's one thing that clubs are really doing well. Doesn't matter how big or how small followers you have, but every club are doing the almost best to market the matches. The other thing is also development of referees. We need to ensure that we have the best referees, at least a good pool of referees. Unfortunately, most of our referees are spread all over the country. They have to travel long distances to officiate games, sometimes 700-800 kilometers to officiate a game. The previous day before the match, then you are coming on town or at a venue, you are tired. So those are the areas that we need to improve. And one of the things that we need to focus on is that to start our 24-25 season of single games per club.
Enjoy the season's best prices all month long at Woermann Brock. 2-liter farmhouse ice cream for $44.99. 1 liter fruit tree juice for just $18.99. 2 liter Coca-Cola Original for just $19.99. 2 liter WB cooking oil for only $64.99. And 2 kg Sky hand wash powder for $39.99. See all our specials online at www.voermanbrock.com.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's Sport Wrap. We have one more to go for the year. Would you believe that? Well, at least with me. Looking forward to that. But for now, do enjoy the rest of your day.
Welcome to the new kid on the block. In the mix? In the mix. In the mix. We're going to be talking all things football. And that means the road to the Africa Cup of Nations.
It's a small team coming all the way from the north, coming to dominate the big teams like African Stars.
What are we doing?
We're doing a poiki.
50,000 fans. You know what? Focus on nothing but football.
This is a big competition.
It's a big competition.
Yeah. Football is round. I do believe we do have a chance.
Traveling from box to box of Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive for you. I think we have a chance maybe against South Africa. Maybe we'll hold it down a little bit with Mali.